Good afternoon, everybody. This is Keena Richard. I just want to take a few minutes to talk to you all. Just kind of spin off about from the video that I did yesterday. I did a short video on budgeting and just suggested that we all need to revisit our budgets. We may know what we have coming in. We may know about what we have to have going out, but we may want to revisit. Can we structure our dollars a little differently to have more structured categories for where our dollars go? And if we apply the principles that I talked about in that video, you may find that you are spending a little bit more in certain sections than you need to. And you may be able to cut back or eliminate certain things so that you can have a more balanced spending of your dollar. And if you find that you need extra income in an area, then you at least would be able to better identify the minimum amount that you needed extra income to generate for you. Today I watched a webinar that was a little bit of a spin-off on that, where it talked about how it was telling us how we should be able to escape the rat race while creating multiple streams of income. This is part one of that video because there's some sections I intend to go back over and we'll probably talk about in another video. But one of the things that Ty Lopez was mentioning was that depending on the age that we are, we should have a minimum amount of savings for our age, adjusting our age. Now, basic budgeting education that I have received in the past, for instance, through Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey talks about having at least $1,000 in an emergency fund, paying off your debt, and then trying to have at least 6 to 8 months, preferably a year of savings, or monthly expenses as your savings. And then later on he talks about once you get everything else out of the way, you can start looking at investing and retirement planning, that kind of thing. But all that time, for several years now, that's what I had in my head, was at least a minimum of $1,000 in an emergency fund, and 6 to 8 months was your goal. I even told my daughter that because we had that course several years ago, she may want to adjust those numbers to have at least $2,000 to $3,000 in an emergency fund, and then still strive for the 6 to 8 months of monthly expenses on the back end. With this video that I was watching today, however, he talked about, depending on your age, you should have a certain amount of savings based on your age, which far surpasses this 6 to 8 months principle that I had been going by for years now. If you're 18 to 25 years old, he gave you a pass basically because you're just getting out of school. You may still be attending college. You may not have worked a part-time job while you were in high school. You may not be working while you're in college. So you may not have a savings. You may be in the negative by the time you take care of expenses. He gave you a pass on that for the most part, as saying, but you're doing poor if you don't have any savings at all. Then when you are considered doing average, if you are able to save just $2,000, which is basically what that emergency fund is we had talked about with other courses that I had taken. But then you were considered doing excellent if you were able to save $25,000 for yourself. However, if you were 26 to 35 years old, then $25,000 might have been what he considered a poor savings account. $50,000 should be your goal if you want to be considered having an average account, and $150,000 was what was considered an excellent account. But if you are 36 years old or 45 years old, $150,000 was your low end. $300,000 was considered your middle ground, and $1 million was what was considered your excellent savings. 45 and up, we should at least have $500,000. $1 million was our average, and $3 million and up was our long-term savings. So based on your age, you now can evaluate your savings and say, okay, where am I with that? Especially if you don't have debt, you're not debt free. That might be something to consider for how much additional income you need to attempt to earn for yourself. And if you're working a job, what is the likelihood of your job increasing your income to allow you to reach these numbers that we're talking about. However, if you learn how to generate multiple streams of income outside of a job, without the same regulations of a job. When you work a job, the job wants you on their clock, and they really often don't want you working other jobs. They want you to be dedicated to them first and foremost. But when you work in a business, especially when they are businesses from home, or if the businesses are work synergistically with each other, they're similar in what we do, then you are able to have no cap, no limit on what you can earn for yourself. So this was just an additional conversation about the budgeting that I posted about yesterday. And if you like what information you've heard, like, share, comment, and feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be able to get additional updates as I post them. Y'all take care. Talk to you later.